And our shout is that Gary Moore Band and the REO Speedwagon are featured in the second of the rock-pop concerts in Germany in next Friday's whistle test at the earlier time of 11:15. Saturday evening on BBC Two. The news and sport is at 7, followed at 7:20 by the second of the series of masterclasses with the distinguished Austrian pianist Alfred Brendel. At 8:05, Begging the Ring, a feature film set in an isolated community during the Second World War. Danny Simpson stars as a young wrestler who's called up whilst he's training for the championships. John Fortune's 6-part comedy serial Roger Doesn't Live Here Anymore begins a second showing on BBC Two at 9, followed at 9:30 by the last of 4 plays on the theme of dancers. Sheffield is the story of Paula, a principal with a touring ballet company who disappears on the eve of the opening performance. After the news on 2 at 10:25, John Finch and Francesca Annis can be seen in Roman Polanski's celebrated film version of Shakespeare's Macbeth. Programmes for Saturday on BBC Two. Now the time was almost 19 minutes past midnight. Saturday's BBC Radio offers a wide variety of listening, including at 10 a brand new morning show with Dave Lee Travis on Radio 1, followed at 1 o'clock by B.B. King, featured in Guitar Greats. Radio 3 at 7:30 tomorrow night has a performance of Dvorak's opera Rusalka. And one of Radio 4's highlights is at 3:30 in the afternoon, the first programme of a new series of Groundswell, with a look at a variety of topics and issues connected with the environment at home and abroad. Well, at home in London's Broadcasting House at the moment is Brian Matthew, who will be looking after Radio 2 until 1 a.m, when night owls fill the airspace. To fill our airspace on BBC Two for a few more moments, a little music. But now this is John Glover at Television Centre in London, wishing you a very good night. Good night to you.
Just before we go, let me remind you that if you're a snooker fan, you can expect a few more late nights in the next week or so with our coverage of the International Snooker from the Hexagon in Reading, which begins tomorrow. Now the time's just after 32 minutes past 1, and it's time for us to leave you. So, from me, Simon Vance, and on behalf of my colleagues here in Television Centre, let me wish you a very good night. Good night.
Well, the next Barbara Stanwyck film finds her starring as a fashion designer and divorcee who's keen to kindle an old flame. There's always tomorrow, and it's tomorrow evening at 20 past midnight. And this is how it fits into our Christmas Eve on 2. Other highlights include the carols from King's College, Cambridge, the story of a tragic love affair, Paper Kisses, a portrait of Priddy the Hedgehog, a celebration of Antonio Stradivari, and the highly praised film The Bostonians, starring Christopher Reeve and Vanessa Redgrave. That's Christmas Eve on BBC Two. And this is the sort of weather we can expect for Christmas Eve. Most places will have a mild night with a little rain or drizzle here and there, but some central and eastern areas may have patches of fog and frost. Christmas Eve will be mainly cloudy, and some rain will spread across western areas during the day. And a quick look at the temperatures. Well, it'll be quite mild, but the west will be windy. Well, that's the weather, and it's also the end of programmes for the moment here on BBC Two. Radio 2's on the air, of course, all through the night. Brian Matthew is broadcasting at the moment, and he'd be pleased to have your company. But from all of us here on BBC Two at the Television Centre in London, this is David Allen wishing you a very good night. Good night.
With the time at 2 minutes past 1, this is the point at which BBC Two is going to call it a night. Still plenty of entertainment to come. If you'd like to tune around BBC Radio, lots of offer all the way through the night on BBC Radio. From all of the team on BBC Two, however, do take care and have a very good night. Until next time, good night.
Hope you can join us for all of that, but right now it's time for me to point you in the direction of BBC Radio. There's music to feast your ears on with Mark Tonderai on Radio 1, Sue McGarry on Radio 2, and on Radio 5 Live, it's Night Call. Well, I hope you have a peaceful night and a pleasant Monday, and till tomorrow, from the team here at Television Centre in London and me, Matthew Jackson, it's good night.